Supervisor Deuntay Diggs of the Stafford County Board of Supervisors joins us here on the Potomac Local News Podcast. Supervisor Diggs, thanks for coming on today.
And thank you for having me, Uriah.
Well, you have got to be breathing a sigh of relief now. The budget season has come to an end. Weeks and months of deliberations about how to fund the county government and fiscal year 2026 is over. That budget starts July 1st. You guys made your decision. You guys passed a new budget that funds county government and gives money to the county public school division. And so with that, we are moving now to a town hall. You guys held some public hearings and town halls, but now you have one scheduled on the 29th, and you were good enough to come on and talk to us about this. Give me the lowdown. What are we going to be talking about at this town hall, and why are we going to hold it?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that our community has asked us as leaders in the community from the Board of Supervisors perspective and the school board is that we work together and that we don't have all the back and forth, and that we truly, not just in meetings, but in other opportunities, come together. And so that's what this was. That was kind of the brainchild behind it, is how do we show our constituents that we've heard you, and that we're making some headway into that. And so from the beginning of my chairmanship, I've injected the school board in almost every opportunity or every event that we have where I could have injected their body in as well. And so myself, Vice Chair Allen, school board member Sigmund, and Guy, we all were communicating, and I said, why not take advantage of an opportunity to come together? And actually, Vice Chair Allen was the brainchild behind it, and I love to do town halls. And so that's what this is about. It's saying we've heard our constituents, and we're going to make a good faith effort to come together.
So those who don't know is that the Board of County Supervisors on one side of the street on Route 1, literally, you guys operate on two sides of the same street, literally, and sometimes figuratively. You have the Board of Supervisors, which operates the county government, and that includes, utilities, water, police, fire and rescue, the majority of county government services. And then you have the school board on the other side of the street, Route 1, there in Stafford, and they are tasked with overseeing the operations of the public school system. And they're two independent boards. However, the school board in Virginia, this is really unique to Virginia, they do not have taxing authority. And so they cannot levy a tax. And so they are dependent wholly on sources of funding from you, the Board of County Supervisors, as well as state and federal sources. And so every year we see this back and forth across the street to see how much money that we're going to give to the schools this year to meet their needs and their want list and what have you. And so this year we saw a budget passed this year of $399 million. We saw with that, a 10-year capital improvement program that totals about $1.5 billion. We saw an increase in the school funding. We saw more money for pay raises and new positions in social services, pay raises for public safety personnel, of which you are one. You are Stafford County Sheriff's Deputy. So talk about the budget and how you say you work together to come to the budget that you passed.
Yes, so it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I don't think I've still decompressed from this whole gauntlet for the budget. But what happens is on the school board side, the superintendent comes up with a budget. He presents that to the school board, and then they take that and they either subtract or add to, and whatever the school board decides as a body, that's what is presented to the Board of Supervisors. And then the Board of Supervisors, as the funding body, we look at it and say, is it too high? Is it too low? And we talk about different things that the school board has put into the budget. And so this year, we knew coming into this year it was going to be a difficult year. As a board, across the Board of Supervisors, we didn't want to increase taxes too heavily upon the constituents, and we understand that there was inflation issues, people losing employment and those types of things. And so when we started out the conversation, we started from there. Two things that we tried to do this year, we'll hopefully work on in the future. We asked the school board members a lot of questions about their budget, and they respond back to us, and we have our joint work sessions. The other side of that is we wanted the school board to understand some of the pressures and some of the things that we deal with on our side, because part of breaking down any conflict is a base understanding of what both sides are dealing with. Because when you look at how it's all set up, it's almost, it comes across as if it's meant to be contentious between the Board of Supervisors and the school board. Both bodies are elected. Both bodies, feel like, their goals and where they're trying to get to is very important. And so when you have, the way that it's set up, it can be contentious at times. And so we just started working together. We had our meetings on our side. School board had their meetings on their side. We did 7-on-7. We also had our 3-on-3, and we spent time talking with our colleagues. And ultimately, we ended up with the $5 million in additional revenue to the schools, and then we also increased meals tax to help get the educators their full pay raise.
And that meals tax increase, that's dependent upon a public hearing that's coming up in May. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So the public's going to get a shot, and that's separate from the town hall that's coming up. The town hall is on April 29th, which is next week from when we're having this conversation now. That meals tax increase and a few other points in the budget that required public comment, that will be following after the town hall. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Well, taxes did go up in Stafford County this year. You guys did approve a tax hike. The tax rate went up, and the average homeowner in Stafford County will be paying $130 more in their real estate property tax this year. And we'll point out that is the key source of funding for the county governments in Virginia. The county governments, especially the counties who don't have a lot of commercial revenue. This is Fairfax County and Stafford County. It's like apples and oranges. Fairfax has a very large commercial base. Stafford County does not have nearly this size of commercial. So the lion's share of the funding falls on the backs of the homeowners in the county. One of the things that we did look at is and again, we talked about apples and oranges comparison, but yeah. Here we cover Potomac Local. At Potomac Local, we covered the Stafford County and we cover Prince William County, and the two counties are very unique and very different in their own rights. And so Prince William County, while people will pay a higher tax bill in Prince William County, about $5,200 on average, while Stafford residents will pay about $4,000 on average. The tax rate dropped in Prince William County, but in Stafford County, which a much smaller, Prince William County's population is about 4 times the size of Stafford County, so it's much bigger. But but you guys raised the tax rate in Stafford, while Prince William lowered their tax rate. So without getting too deep into the numbers, a lot of people have been asking me, well, how did we get here, right? How did we go, for so long without having these taxes raised? Although we got some data and reported that last week where taxes since it looks like in the past 3 years have went up 30%. They've gone up 62% since way back in 2012. So how did we get here? Where we're seeing a higher tax rate in Stafford, a smaller county, and a lower tax rate in points north of here?
Yeah, so there's a little bit, and you said it a couple of times, apples to oranges type comparison when you're looking at Prince William and Stafford. A couple of things that I would highlight. In Stafford, every other year we do a reassessment. In Prince William, they reassess every year. And so while Prince William has dropped their taxes, they didn't equalize, meaning their property values are up. So it's not really what you would consider a tax decrease. The other part that I would say is, how did we get here? There has been a history of trying to keep taxes low. And if you go back and look at meetings, actually it was said from the dais during our budget hearing, some supervisors said, increase a little at a time so that way we can keep up, because Stafford has been growing. It was the #1 growing county for some time. And the mantra was, we're not raising taxes, we're not raising taxes. There was some assessment and not equalization or equalizing the rate, which did increase taxes over time, but it wasn't enough to sustain the growth that we were under. And so then we find ourselves where we are currently, where our economic development, commercial development is trending in the right direction. But we're finding with some of the pressures on the budget that we're having to play catch up. And so, the key to relieving the issues that we're facing in the county is going to be focusing as a board on the commercial development.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing.
And a lot of that commercial development is coming in the way of data centers. And in Prince William County, we're told at the onset, and we're going back about 10 years now, we really started to get into data centers up in Prince William, and we're really now starting to see them coming into their own in Stafford County now. But the mantra was, well, if we bring in these data centers, we will be able to collect higher tax revenues based on the computer and peripheral tax rates, and we will be able to lower the property tax bill because that'll be offset by the data centers. Well, in Prince William County, and this is obviously not you're Stafford, we get it, but they're not doing that. They did not cut the property tax rate and reinvest the money they've got off the data centers and give taxpayers a break. They simply took that money and reallocated it to something else, whatever other expenditure they decided to reallocate that to. Mm-hmm. So in Stafford County, as data centers continue to proliferate and we see more of them coming up and more projects being approved, and as it was described to me as investing in the county and providing services for a growing community, should residents continue to expect to see these tax increases because these tax increases allow the county to meet the demand of a growing county? Is this going to become the norm?
So hopefully not. And, I can't speak for the board when it comes to whether we're going to increase taxes in the future or not. For me, my position is this: I want to keep taxes as low as possible. And, with data centers, I don't want people to think, there's a conversation out there where data centers are going to be the end all be all. For me, I want to look at other forms of investment in the commercial landscape. For instance, sports tourism. That's something that's important to me. Downtown Stafford is important. And so, we want to make sure we have things in the community for our constituents to do. And I think that's across the board, whether it be a movie theater, we hear a lot about that, other businesses, go-karts, what have you. So, for me, when I look at this from just Supervisor Diggs' perspective, whatever additional revenue that we can get in, it does offset the burden that our constituents face.
I wonder, and this is just me speaking out loud, that those who may have had heartburn over the increased tax rate, if all will be forgotten if Supervisor Diggs stands up and says, I have a new movie theater that's going to, I'm announcing this week at this meeting, if all of that heartburn would just go away, if Supervisor Diggs or someone on your board would make that announcement, because we've been waiting for that. On the 29th, you've got your town hall coming up. Mm-hmm. Again, it's we won't call it we'll call it a joint town hall because it does have members of both boards, the supervisors and the school board. Will there be certain topics discussed? Is this an open free for all? Will people just step up to the mic and you'll hear what they have to say? Give me a little bit about what you hope to hear and learn at this town hall.
So it's an opportunity for the community to see us working together, and we're going to be answering questions from our lenses. So we're going to talk about budget constraints. We're going to talk about infrastructure. We're going to talk about, I'm trying to think, what were the other ones that we put on there? Economic development, which is, the movie theaters, the data centers, all of those types of things. And we're going to also talk about transportation. So we've set out the 4 major themes that we want people to come to the meeting to discuss with us. When you go to a board meeting, you don't have an exchange back and forth. Constituents come in, they say how they feel, they get their 3 minutes, and then they go sit down. And so this is an opportunity for constituents to come in and say, where are we at on this, or this is how I feel about X, Y, and Z, and then we will be able to have an exchange of ideas. Of course, in any meeting, you can't control. People will probably come with other things as well. We'll have staff on standby, making sure that we're prepared. The other part that's important for people to understand that in Stafford, as chair and vice chair, we're more ceremonial. And we don't get to just speak on the behalf of our other board members. And so we have to be very careful in how we answer some questions, because we don't want to appear to speak for the board without full board's approval. We're hoping that out of both boards, all of our members will be there if they're available. And so again, it goes back to that engagement piece. Constituents get to come in and say, this is how I feel about an issue. And then we get to respond. And, sometimes on social media, you don't get to get the full picture. You don't have all the facts, and we'll be there to give them the full picture.
Yeah, I think that's very important that you bring up, there's 7 members on your board, 7 different perspectives and 7 different opinions. And the people whom elected you, though you are the chairman, you are not at large, you do represent the George Washington district, the magisterial district in the county, but you also double as chairman, and on that position rotates from year to year. It seems maybe 1 every 2 years or so. But that said, you do have an opinion. You do have knowledge that most people, most Joe citizens like myself don't when it comes to the county. And it's good for you to be willing to get up there and at least hear the residents and share your perspective, because that's why they elected you. And it's always good to hear the elected leader's perspective on things, given your background and given your knowledge, and of course your willingness to do so. So we thank you for that.
And I'll say with that is it's important to be accountable to the constituents. And so that's why I host town halls, is I feel like it's an opportunity in a less formal environment to be accountable to.
Indeed. Well, the event will take place from 6 o'clock until 8 p.m. in the Colonial Forge High School Auditorium. That's at 550 Courthouse Road in Stafford. Again, the evening will begin with a brief welcome, followed by a public forum where attendees are encouraged to ask questions and share feedback regarding those significant areas that you talked about. Again, infrastructure, transportation, budget and funding, and economic development.
And it's been a location change. It's going to actually be in the Colonial Forge Library.
Okay.
Auditorium, but same school, just in a different location within the school.
Gotcha. Same school in the library as opposed to the auditorium. Okay. Good. Well, I know how to read a website. I was just reading that off the Stafford County website.
Yeah, we have to.
There you go. There you go. So, breaking news: location change inside the building. We got it.
You heard it here first.
You're absolutely right. Chairman Diggs, thank you so much for coming on the Potomac Local News Podcast and sharing your perspective on all this.
Yes, thank you for having me, Uriah. Hope to see you again soon.